I don't really have any issues about the mining company because they are a commercial operation. They're here to operate in Papua New Guinea. And I believe they and all foreign companies that operate in Papua New Guinea need to operate by a set of standards. My concern personally is that the PNG government does not know what those standards are. We don't have standards. So how do you assess what the company is saying against the lack of standards in Papua New Guinea? And I think this is the issue that most Papua New Guineans, especially CIPICs, have with it. Like, what is the standard that they, the standard of safety that they are going to aspire to? Is it a global standard? If so, what is that standard? Given that Papua New Guinea has no standards. Or if we do have standards, nobody actually polices our standards. Okay, so the issue arises, in my view. My personal view is like this. The PNG government, which is very keen on pushing this mine forward, given all the serious cash flow problems and all the outstanding loans that the government has racked up over the last, 15 years. We have significant loans, and there are even significant, much more greater loans that are not part of our official debt. So I can understand why government is really keen to push this mine off the ground. And given that situation, I think it is incumbent on the PNG government to not depend on what the company is doing. It should do its own independent assessment. Because it is not just the East Sepik provincial government that has a responsibility to the Sepik River people. It is the national government of Papua New Guinea that has the greater responsibility to the well-being of the Sepik River people. Okay. Having said that, I have advocated all along that the national government should independently fund a consultation process, beginning at Kopar and ending up at May River. I don't think, you see, up till now, it's been the company, and this is why I say I respect the company, and I totally understand why they are doing what they're doing. My worry is on the PNG government side, the independent state of Papua New Guinea, and its ability to discharge its constitutional responsibility to the people. That's what I'm worried about. And I think those are some of the things that were picked up. And as you can see, SIPA has not responded appropriately. And I think if you see the concerns of the Sepik people, a lot of the people raising these issues, they are residents of the Sepik River. You can see their names. And I fully understand that. And so for me, I still think that, the government is spending hundreds of millions of kina on all kinds of things. I'm sure it can afford to put down maybe 10 million kina or something. And then to bring in independent people that are going to assess what the company is saying, and then to come to an independent position, and then to take that position to the Sepik people. Well, there was an environmental impact study done by the company, and that was made available, I think, around 2019. So a copy was given to the East Sepik provincial government, and because we did not have the technical expertise to assess the information in that document, we put together a team of eminent scientists to review the document. We brought in Professor David Sayang. He's a Sepik, but he's now, I think, a citizen of Switzerland. And he's one of the eminent mining engineers in the world. And so he lectures in, I think, the University of Switzerland. So he was kind enough to offer his time, and a team was placed around him, and over a period of about 3 months, they were asked to review the environmental impact statement provided by the company. After they had reviewed it, they made their findings, which they presented to the ECP provincial government, including myself. And there was no process. Like, every mine in Papua New Guinea was basically managed from Port Moresby. There is no process to engage the different stakeholders except during the discussions for benefits. So the benefit sharings after, the agreement for mining had been approved by government. So that's usually the process. But for us in ECPIC, I felt that, well, first of all, the Constitution guarantees the rights of our people, all Papua New Guineans. The Constitution also requires that before any extractive operation is to be conducted on traditional lands, there must be full, informed, prior consent. So that basically means that everybody in the impacted area needs to be consulted. They need to be informed of what is going to happen, the good and the bad. And then after that process, their permission is supposed to be given. Now, the law is unclear as to how that permission is supposed to be obtained. So in ECPIC, I felt that the best way to do that is through our LLG presidents, given that there is no process and no other provincial government had ever had the capacity to evaluate an environmental impact statement. We are the first in Papua New Guinea's 50-year history to actually conduct an independent assessment. Now, that review found some significant issues in the study that was conducted by the mining company. And those were issues of concern to our river people. So these experts wrote a letter on behalf of the ECP provincial government, which was signed and sent to SIPA, because SIPA is the authority. And so our concerns were in that letter that went to SIPA, I think in 2020. From 2020 to now, 2026, SIPA has not officially responded to the ECP provincial government, and we are still waiting for their response to our concerns. My understanding is that based on our letter, and again, we have received no official correspondence, this is just from the rumors I've heard, the environmental impact study was reviewed again by the company, and I heard that a second impact study was presented to SIPA. The ECP provincial government has not been given a copy of that second impact study. You need a third arbitrator now. The ECP provincial government has a position. The people of ECP have a position. The mining company has a position. The landowners, of course, have their desires for monetary benefits and so on and so forth. So we need a third party. And I think that third party should be a responsible, independent assessment by a group that is that has the stature in the international community to be able to do such assessments. That group can come from Australia, or it can come from somewhere else. It can even come from Papua New Guinea, so long as it has the international reputation to back up. Because I think then we can all be able to have a middle pathway. But right now, we are at different ends of the spectrum based on our concerns. And so, whilst again, I respect what the mining company has said, I know for a fact that there is no PNG agency in the 50-year history of Papua New Guinea that has been able to take control of mining activities and environmental impact. You look at Bulolo right now, as a case in point, all of these small-scale miners ripping up the riverbed in Wau and Bulolo right now. People are getting killed. There's disputes. There's everything. And government has still not taken control of it. Now that's happening at a micro scale. You multiply that by Frida if something was to go wrong. So my role, I believe, is to be a voice of reason, because I know how violent civics can get, and I don't want that, because I'm a civic myself. I also think that we are intelligent people, and so I want things to be done properly in a reputable process, a process that is transparent, and a process that everybody can trust, particularly the Sepik River people. You see, my role is, I'm not the boss of the Sepik people. I'm the voice of the Sepik people. So if the majority of the Sepik people say no to something, it is my responsibility to also say no. I can't make up my own mind because I don't speak for myself. I speak for the Sepik people. And so if the Sepik people say yes, I am not going to say no. But if they say no, I can't say yes. So I'm asking for everyone to be reasonable, and I don't think there's any rush to anything. And I'm asking the national government to also exercise some responsibility in this matter. There are about 49 villages all along the Sepik River, I think. And if they agree, that's the first condition. If they agree that mining should proceed, then we have to discuss the issue of, okay, what are the safeguards? And when that happens, then I think there's time for another discussion. The safeguards should be what happens if the dam fails. Because you have to remember, the dam is going to be built on the Frida fault line. Now, if you remember, just around COVID, we had a major earthquake in East Sepik, and a number of people lost their lives. That earthquake occurred right at the spot where the dam is proposed to be built. So it's an active fault line. I'm not sure about the robustness of the engineering that's going to go into that dam to ensure that it's not going to collapse in the event of another 6 or 7 scale earthquake. And, you know, they've got to demonstrate that. And what if it does collapse? What then? Because if it does collapse, and we've seen dams collapse in South America and other places where all of that material goes, you know, downstream. So, as I said, first things first. Before we discuss safeguards, before we discuss compensation, before we discuss any of that, you need the free, prior, informed consent of the Sepik River people. Get that first, then I think we can talk about other things. Where are the documents that show that this process has taken place? I mean, where are the sign-offs? Okay, people have been having meetings up and down, but where's the formal process where people have actually signed up and say, I agree? I think someone needs to show that process. I wanted that process 6 years ago. I asked for the process. I tried to fund it myself. But of course, East Sepik is not one of the richer provinces. And when the national government cuts your budget consistently every year, well, obviously we cannot fund things like that. It's a luxury we can't afford. So someone needs to fund that process. So beyond just having a task force and all those kinds of things, you need Sepik River people, the people that actually live on the riverbank, that fish in it, that wash in it, that drink that water. You need them to sign off and say yes. That's what I'm saying. We must get the consent of the Sepik River people, not the people from Wasara, not the people from Baprik, Dregikia, Yanguru, Sasoya, inland Engoram, Wiwek. We've got to get the consent of the people of Marienberg, Keram, Yuat, Karawari, Gawi, and then Tunap Hanston, Ambunti. These are the people who are going to be greatly affected. So their voices need to be heard. And for me, I represent those voices now. But in order to accurately capture those voices, it needs to be done on the ground. The government passed or approved a policy. It's called the Strategy for Responsible Sustainable Development. In that policy, it adopts a range of principles for development, for sustainable development. Principle number 16, and again, this is government policy. It's been adopted. It's not just some document that somebody wrote and put somewhere else. Principle number 16 talks about the precautionary principle. What is the precautionary principle? The precautionary principle is that if you are not sure of something, you should not do it. For me, I am not 100% certain, personally, that the Sepik River will be safe. And so I am taking a precautionary approach, and I think the East Sepik provincial government is taking a precautionary approach. We don't want to make a mistake. Because if we make a mistake, there are 100,000 people along the Sepik River whose livelihoods are going to be seriously affected. And so my concern remains the livelihood of the Sepik River people. And, we had a provincial assembly meeting and considered all of these things. And the East Sepik Provincial Assembly passed a resolution which was written and signed and sent to the government. We are the first provincial government to do that in the history of Papua New Guinea. So I think we have followed the process to try to do things properly. And you have to remember, environmental powers and mining powers are national government powers. They are not provincial government powers. Provincial governments are just bystanders when it comes to mining operations. We are not active participants. So for the East Sepik provincial government to choose to become a part of this, to ensure that our people's interests are cared for, we had to go above and beyond our mandated responsibilities to do that. And I think we are doing it as a responsible government, and we are doing it because our people are likely to be affected. And again, this is a democracy. And, the principles of democracy require that we are transparent about the way we do our business, and that we have mechanisms in place should complaints arise or should disputes arise. And right now I'm saying those mechanisms are non-existent. So these institutions of the state of Papua New Guinea need to get off their backside and do their job. And their job means engaging with the people who are going to be affected. And so they need to get out of Port Moresby and come and talk to my people on the river. That's what they need to do. Well, first of all, I have to say to my people that they are expressing their democratic right. The Constitution guarantees them that right to speak up about matters which they feel are of concern to them and are going to impact them. So they're doing the right thing. My appeal to my people in East Sepik is let's be calm. This is a process. I don't think the mine is going to be open tomorrow. I don't think it will be operational in the next 10 years. So we have time. So I would ask everyone to be calm. And, their concerns are noted. It's not like the East Sepik provincial government has been asleep on this matter. We've been active as far as we can with the resources that we have. And we think we still have a voice, and we think we can speak up. So I think it is good that this discussion is now taking place. The stand we take should not result in violence. I think we should, we are smart enough. Civic people are smart people. There are avenues we can take if we feel that our concerns are not adequately responded to by state agencies. And I say again, our issue is not with the mining company. Our issue is with our state agencies that have so far failed in discharging their responsibility to our people. So it is up to us to hold those national government entities to account. And that's what we have to do, and we have to do so without violence, and we have to do so intelligently. So I think that's my message to my people of ECP. Yuplabelisi. This is start blowing, I mean not finish blowing. The finish is a long way away. So we just have to keep our heads about us, do this intelligently, and I think if we adopt that approach, we should arrive at an outcome that is a win-win for everybody.